Breaking weather first at 10, a new Arctic blast moving in. A wind chill advisory will be in effect for counties north of Tulsa when you wake up in the morning. All of us facing dangerous wind chills near zero. Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Zeppelin joining me now in the Storm Center. What can we expect?
Front has already moved through. Now that moved through earlier in the day. The coldest air is still back to the north of us, but it is headed our way, and it is definitely going to bring in some big changes by the early morning hours. I'll have all the latest wind chill readings for you here in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Jennifer. Right now, some families are trying to stay warm in their homes where they have no heat. Tulsa's Channel 8 met Melissa Reddick today, who covered her front door to try and keep the heat since her electricity had been cut off. She, like many others, is unable to pay her utility bill. The Salvation Army is trying to help families dealing with no heat, but the agency says its funding is falling short.
To start off, we could use all the donations we can get. 2014, we assisted 48% fewer households than we did the year before due to low donations.
The Salvation Army has been providing shelter to anyone in need, and that includes people on their banned list and those who have consumed alcohol. To help keep your neighbors warm, we are collecting blankets for Jennifer's Spread the Warmth blanket drive. You can drop off your blanket donations at any LeMode Cleaners, Mattress Firm location, or here at our studio in West Tulsa. Tonight, some Tulsa parks may soon have a new lease on life. The city plans to review if they're still useful enough to keep. 11 park properties that we mapped out for you here are being considered to go up for sale, lease, or repurposing. Channel 8's Bert Mumolo joins us now live. Could there still be a future for some of these parks?
Bert Mumolo, Tulsa Channel 8.
Thank you, Bert. Other city departments have also been asked to review their inventories as well. A developing story tonight, health officials trying to figure out what illness killed a local kindergarten student. The Oologah School District says the 6-year-old died last night. The Rogers County Health Department is working with several agencies to determine what caused the child's death. Health officials say that they have not received any test results that show the student had an infectious or highly contagious disease, but many parents refuse to take their kids back to school until they know more.
And we have a student that has died, and we don't know why. And like I said, Oologah has dealt with something like this before, and it's horrifying.
And she's referring to another tragedy in 2010. That's when an Oologah student died from meningitis. Tonight, a shakeup in Norman. The Oklahoma Sooners fire offensive coordinator Josh Heupel. This just days after letting go the team's other offensive coordinator, Jay Norvell. The move comes after the team's 8-5 finish and blowout in the Athletic Bowl, where they lost 40-6 to Clemson. Sports director John Moss joins me now, of course, with the fallout. John.
Hey, Kristin, you know, many expected a shakeup in Norman after that 8-5 season you just mentioned, but this
chips like we have so many other times.
Coming up in just a few minutes in sports, John Laws is going to take a more macro level look at the state of the OU football program. You don't want to miss that.
This must have been a painful cut to make for him.
Yeah, two people that were almost like family. He played with Jay Norvell. Heupel, obviously, he's really close with being his quarterback, and it was a necessary move, though, I think, both ways.
Thank you, John.
Sure.
Right now, an update to breaking news out of Texas. 2 people are dead after a gunman opens fire at a veterans medical clinic. A doctor was shot and killed at that clinic in El Paso, Texas this afternoon. The shooter is also dead. Authorities are not revealing how the gunman died or whether it was by responding to officers or self-inflicted. No other injuries are reported. One of Tulsa's most wanted is now behind bars in Florida. A tip led to the arrest of 19-year-old Joshua Moore. He was wanted for sodomy, assault with a dangerous weapon, and assault and battery. He will eventually be brought back to Tulsa for trial. Tulsa police are hoping surveillance video from a North Tulsa Quick Trip might help them find a car thief. The owner reported his silver Lincoln Town car stolen overnight, and an officer spotted that car at the QT at 46th Street North and Lewis. Detectives say that the suspect came out of the store, spotted the officer, and ran. K-9 officers and the police helicopter didn't find him. The police department will be featured on a cable television show beginning Thursday. Production crews from the First 48 have been following the homicide unit since July. The show follows detectives through every stage of the investigation, including crime scenes, interviews with witnesses and suspects, as well as meeting with the victims' loved ones. The first episode airs on the A&E network on Thursday at 8 p.m. Covering the nation, Republicans assume full control of Congress for the first time in 8 years. Now that sets up a showdown between Capitol Hill and the White House. John Boehner, once again elected Speaker of the House, but not without drama. A dozen of his fellow Republicans revolted, backing other candidates. Now, Boehner now controls the largest Republican majority in more than 80 years. Mitch McConnell takes over as Senate Majority Leader, the GOP revealing its agenda.
We recognize the enormity of the task before us. We know a lot of hard work awaits.
Mitch McConnell wants to start hitting some singles and doubles, and he's doing, I think, a pretty savvy thing in saying, look, the American people are putting us on probation. They're giving us a tryout here. We have to deliver.
Republicans want to reverse President Obama's executive actions on immigration. But first up, they say that they have the votes to approve the controversial Keystone XL pipeline. The White House says that the president will veto that bill if it arrives on his desk. A new effort to encourage travelers to and from the Tulsa airport. Coming up, the hashtag that could earn you a free trip while sharing your vacation with friends. Plus, breaking weather, dangerously cold weather sweeping across the country. And for some, that includes a round of heavy snow. Caught on camera, a mountainside suddenly collapses, sending rocks and mud slamming into a row of homes. Plus, gadgets and gizmos, from a watch that flies and turns into a camera to a ring that acts like a remote control. All the hottest new technology unveiled. Tulsa International Airport launches a new campaign to encourage travelers to fly Tulsa. That's the hashtag passengers are encouraged to use over the next 3 months. Just before you get to security, there's a mini golden driller to share pictures and stories using hashtag Fly Tulsa. The airport says increasing airport traffic will encourage airlines to add more nonstop routes. Those who use the hashtag on Twitter will be entered into a contest to win 4 free tickets nonstop from Tulsa. About 2.6 million passengers flew through that airport last year. That's up about 4%. New technology is on display this week, showing off the new gadgets at the Consumer Electronics Show. It includes a watch that can fly, wearable tech gear, and TVs that offer even better picture quality than the one you're using right now. Here's a look at the gadgets, glam, and technology. So fun, huh? I want one of everything. The convention runs through Friday. There are more than 3,500 exhibitors covering 2 million square feet of space. In other tech news, Apple is now selling unlocked iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus devices. Customers can now purchase the phones and choose their own wireless carrier without entering into a 2-year contract. Apple's price for the contract-free iPhone 6 starts at $650, and the company recently acquired a FlexiPhone patent. It could be used for flexible screens, batteries, and circuit boards. No word on if any products like that are in the works just yet. Tracking breaking weather across the country tonight, a deep freeze taking hold as Mother Nature unleashes her fury. This time, it's in the form of a bitterly cold Arctic blast. Temperatures plunging to well below zero as snow makes travel a nightmare. ABC's Marcia Gonzalez with the latest. Welcome back, everybody. We are live at the BOK Center today. And today, Garth Brooks said that Oklahoma, to his family, is known as the land of common sense. But after moving to Nashville, along with his wife, Trisha Yearwood, we asked her, what does she miss the most? What will you all miss about living in Owasso and this community?
It's the people. You know, when I first came out to Oklahoma 15 years ago now, I didn't know anybody really but Garth, and he told me, he said, what you're going to love most about Owasso are the people, and he was right, and that's what I miss the most, and the sunsets, and Brahms.
There it is.
You gotta love Brahms, right? And they were asked, would they ever consider moving back to Owasso after their time in Nashville and time traveling all around the world? And Garth basically say that wherever Trisha is, that is where he is home. So we can all just keep our fingers crossed. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we will have more of our one-on-one interview with Garth and some more behind-the-scenes things that happened today at the press conference as hundreds of thousands of people get ready to bear witness to one amazing performance over the next few days here at the BOK Center. Charles?
Go ahead and go down to the ground. Go down to the ground. We've got an ambulance coming.
I thought that it was almost like a warning shot.
We're live right now in downtown Tulsa at Tulsa Police Headquarters, where officers are saying that that shooting victim was also suicidal. I'm asking the question, did police officers respond in an appropriate manner? Now, just minutes after that shooting happened last night, someone sent me video of the entire thing happening. They were there, witnessing it, and they recorded it on their cell phone. More of that exclusive footage coming up in less than a minute. But first, new at 6 o'clock, Tulsa police say that Officer Gregory Douglas shot Nathan Boyd at the Quick Trip at 21st and 129th East Avenue. Boyd survived and is now recovering in a local hospital. Tonight, our team coverage begins with that exclusive video and reaction from the witness as well as Tulsa police.
Step out. Walk toward slightly.
Crouched down in his car, his cell phone looking more steady than it felt, Michael Wheelis heard the eerily quiet scene broken up by one shot. Tell me what went through your mind when you heard the gunshot.
Right when I heard the gunshot, just because after the gunshot there wasn't much commotion, I thought that it was almost like a warning shot. And I didn't know if it was a warning shot from the police or if it was a warning shot from the suspect or whoever it was, just because afterwards it was still dead silent.
As dozens of police cars surrounded the armed man, after the shot, Wheelis said no one rushed in, leaving concern for the man lying bleeding on the pavement.
I felt better once they started talking to him and you knew that he was alive, because not in any situation like that do you want someone, you know, to die. So the one shot was better than hearing 15, shots altogether.
After witnessing the standoff, we asked, does he think Tulsa police responded appropriately?
Yeah, it definitely felt like there was no excessive force whatsoever. When you have all of them there and how they handled the situation afterwards, I felt very safe, just because there wasn't an excessive amount of shots. One person made a shot and only made it one time, instead of one person made a shot and then you had 15 cops following the lead. It felt very organized. So, and then afterwards, the containment of the scene was very good. Just because when I was leaving, I had a hard time leaving, in my car. And then they were already roping off the scene, they were already evacuating people. So I felt like they handled the situation great.
And before that shooting happened, officials say that suspect made some threatening phone calls. Our live team coverage continues in studio with Yadami Farinas with more on these threats. Yadami. Thank you so much, Yadami. Today that we learned that there are two different types of suicide by police officer. One is basically a criminal who would rather do anything than be arrested, including die. The second is what we experienced today, what happened last night, and that is someone already having suicidal thoughts, deciding for some reason that they want the police officer to pull the trigger for them. We talked to Tulsa police about suicide today, and they say it is a very serious issue in our community. So far this year, they have already covered 83 suicides. Now, speaking to you directly, if you have ever had any suicidal thoughts or negative thoughts in that matter that might lead to suicide, no, you're not alone. There are people standing by right now ready to help you. So take a look at your screen. We have a couple numbers for you to jot down, or if you know of any family members who might be thinking this way, the Mental Health Association of Oklahoma is a great resource. 918-585-1213. Also, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. That's 1-800-273-8255. Now, we are also listening to you on Facebook regarding this shooting. Bobby says you can disagree with an individual's actions without hating cops. One man's poor decision doesn't equate to all cops are bad, but the police shootings are becoming more frequent with less and less reasoning, and they have to be held accountable just like everyone else. However, Shelley responds, saying, I don't believe there is less and less reasoning behind officer-involved shootings. If anything, officers are making sure that they are justified before taking a shot. We want to hear what you have to say about this ongoing investigation. Be sure to like our Tulsa's Channel 8 Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and share your thoughts. We will have more tonight coming up on this investigation at 10 o'clock. Mark? Mark, a year ago tonight, basically this whole area was just piles of debris. You might have been able to make out Moore Medical Center standing just behind me, what was left of it. But tonight you can see the temporary facility that they've been using for the last few months. And you can also see this site where just this morning they broke ground on the new hospital, which will be completed in 2016. There are signs of progress all over this town, including Briarwood Elementary, which is just about a mile away from here. We stopped by there earlier today and we saw about 550 children, their families, their teachers, and volunteers celebrating the opening of their new school, which is set to begin this school year. And the teachers told me that their goal was that they wanted this anniversary to be a positive experience for those children. And I can tell you, after seeing it firsthand, they succeeded. In the aftermath of the tornado, there are countless stories of gratitude and people helping people. And one place that you could certainly see that a lot was Southgate Baptist Church. Channel 8's Bert Momolo met up with a pastor that you first met this time last year.
Kristin, Pastor Doug Brewer is memorable for a lot of reasons. One is that when you meet him, he's got a very firm handshake, but he's also got a voice that quivers a bit when he talks about all the good he's seen. And that's not even mentioning the damage done to Southgate Baptist. They had over $1 million damage done, also by the storm, but also because so many people used their facility that they had to replace bathrooms and floors.
Wow, thank you. You can tell a lot about a person by their handshake.
Yes.
So thank you very much. You know, for so many people, this storm was absolutely devastating, to say the very least. But we met one man who said that losing everything he owned was a relatively positive experience. I first met John Staccati 2 days after he climbed out of his neighbor's cellar. His co-workers at Keller Williams came to help find anything salvageable.
We just found this. He made it for his wife last year for their anniversary.
This was just the beginning of the outpouring of love, support, and selflessness that would change John's life.
If it would have been 10 years ago, I would have been hard-headed, stupid, and said, I'll clean it out myself. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. I can't do that.
Maybe it's pride or just the pull yourself up by your bootstraps toughness. Either way, a year later,
when something of that magnitude happens, everybody wants to help.
They told me about the now faceless people giving their everything. A Girl Scout wanting to give away her cookie money, but no one had the heart to take it. And the volunteers who helped his neighbor find her late husband's ashes.
I never experienced that type of an outpouring of care, and I mean, it's changed me forever.
And now, take us to what used to be your home.
This was the driveway, obviously.
On the empty lot where his home of 18 years once stood, perspective on his relatively positive experience that many families weren't fortunate enough to have.
To me, the biggest thing was there were people that didn't get the chance.
We're standing just about a mile from where the children were killed in Plaza Towers Elementary. And we're just behind us. A baby died in what was once a gas station.
Excuse me. They didn't get the chance to tuck their kids in.
Today, John's family is in the middle of building a new home.
This will be John's mom's room.
It's located in Moore, near the path of the last tornado.
There is the safe room, the most important part.
I don't know how many people say, oh, you're crazy, John, you know, building right back in. I tell everybody, is there a risk, a weather risk living in Moore, Oklahoma? Absolutely. I mean, of course there is. But the reward is just as great.
And the Staccati family is one of many who is more strong. John had told me that all of the homes that he has sold in Moore since the tornado touched down either has a tornado shelter already or has plans to build one. Mark?
Emotional day. Thanks, Kristin.